Kevin Hart is a talented American stand-up comedian and actor who managed to become famous with his excellent sense of humor. He is short, but does not hesitate to constantly ironize this fact. The best works of Kevin Hart were recognized for the films Ride Along, A Spy and a Half, Mission to Miami, Superhero Movie, Cheer Up, and Scary Movie 3. Kevin Hart was born on July 6, 1979 in Philadelphia. The father abandoned the family very early, so the mother was forced to raise her son alone. As a schoolboy, he was distinguished by diligent behavior and good grades. At the age of 16, the young man received a certificate and entered the Philadelphia Temple Institute. However, after 2 years, Hart had to quit his studies due to an acute lack of funds. To somehow stay afloat, he worked as a shoe salesman. However, the young man understood that he did not want to stand behind the counter all his life. He dreamed of making people laugh and becoming a famous comedian. So in his free time, Kevin was a regular at castings for all kinds of talent shows and comedy programs. He once worked as a shoe salesman. This sounds like a job that many people would run away from after a while, as it sounds like something a person might do for a while or during high school. Usually they sell shoes only as a temporary part-time job. Having to deal with people and their feet all day long doesn't seem like an enviable task, but some people do it throughout their lives. Kevin used humor as a way to cope with difficulties in his life. Some people use comedy as a tool to help elevate themselves in what is otherwise a very difficult life. Some people don't think this is a good way to solve their problems and improve their lives. Kevin's father was a drug addict who was in and out of prison, so he used comedy as a means to make life seem a little brighter than it was. His first comedy performances on stage weren't very good. He had no immediate followers, and in fact, he was thrown out of the scene more than once since he arrived. He wasn't that popular, and people didn't really want to listen to him. But when he began to take various aspects of other comedians' acts and transform them into his own style, his career began to develop very quickly and successfully. Much of his comedy comes from personal life experiences that have traumatized him in one way or another. There are many artists in show business who do this. The pain they experience in their real lives is what motivates them to create what they provide to the audience. They hope that people will see what they have to offer and love what will make them famous. Comedy is no different and is often derived from the worst moments in life. In this way, many actors try to make their lives more joyful and at least temporarily forget about existing problems or situations that once hurt them. He's been in trouble for a few tweets lately. Kevin had to pull out of the upcoming Academy Awards because he took to Twitter and said a few things that the LGBT crowd really didn't like. Given the number of movements and social changes taking place in the country, it was not entirely reasonable for him to dissuade, but he has since apologized. Kevin doesn't like to joke about violence and homosexuality. Making an ill-advised tweet is one thing, but Kevin isn't making jokes about rape or homosexuality. This is a very touching subject these days and at all ages, and despite the fact that jokes around and making light of certain subjects are very popular, Kevin refuses to speak out on these topics. There are simply too many people who don't have as much self-control and honor as they claim to have, who will launch one campaign after another against those who dare joke about such things. He can do a lot in comedy depending on his height. If you notice appearances in many of his films, his height is usually one thing that everyone comments on, as he is quite a small person and is constantly with those people who tower over him. But despite his short stature, Kevin does not have a complex. He jokes about it and considers it a good advantage. He went on to attend community college in New York. He managed to get an education at the last moment. You don't need a university education that costs hundreds of thousands of dollars to actually make it in life. His attempts at comedy began when he was about 11. Kevin relayed the story that his mother was about to hit him with a belt when he decided to say something funny. Apparently, she started laughing and couldn't stop, so he decided that if he could get out of his problem with comedy, it would be worth it. It was after this situation that he already understood what he would do in the future and began to do everything possible to act in comedy films. He constantly talks about bringing people together with comedy. Whatever he does, whether it's black, white, or people of other races, his whole message is about unity, and he wants to avoid labels. What do you know about Kevin Hart? What other person would you like me to tell you about? Leave your thoughts in the comments. If you like the video, click like and subscribe to the channel.